Every spring brings us another season of holy days, celebrating renewal, rebirth, resurrection, and liberation. Some years these overlap quite profoundly, others not. That's because they follow the lunar calendar and the moon rules us, not the other way around. So we arrive with Easter, Passover, and Earth Day all together this year, complete with a resplendent full moon. Did you walk outside last night? Passover began Friday evening. Easter is today. Earth Day is tomorrow. Next Sunday, we will do a telling of the Passover story, complete with traditional food served in hospitality, matzo ball soup, haroset. We'll be doing the telling of the liberation. Today, we bring our worship to the teachings of Easter and the lessons of Earth Day, what they can show us about our own lives, our own struggles, our hopes, and our responsibilities as keepers of this earth and members of the human family. Easter comes from the Christian tradition, in which people follow the teachings of a man called Jesus, a great prophet from long ago who changed and still changes the hearts of many people with his revolutionary love for all people and for God. In the time when Jesus lived, some 2,000 years ago, so many people loved him and followed him that the powerful ones of government and religion were frightened that they might lose their power and their places of privilege. The more popular Jesus became, the more they feared he would upset their normal order that served them well, but not the people. And so these leaders had him arrested, and later he was killed. What happened after he died started the religion of Christianity. Now, in the time of Jesus, when a person died, their body was placed in a tomb that kind of looked like this one. Now, these tombs were carved into the sides of giant boulders or into the sides of mountains. And then another big stone was rolled over that door to seal it off. And that was it. And so, when Jesus died, his body was placed in a tomb like this, and the stone was rolled over it, and his followers were devastated and grief-stricken, and they thought it was all over. How could this be? That's not where Jesus' story ends. His teachings could not die with him, because 3 women who loved him and had cared for him and tended to him and to his followers and were his followers all through his life came to the tomb 3 days after he was placed there to tend it and be sure it had not been disturbed, and they found the stone rolled away from the opening and Jesus' body was gone. Now, Christians believe that they saw him, that he wasn't gone, he was risen, that he rose from the dead and then rose to heaven. Now, we can't know for sure that that did happen. And we can't know for sure that it didn't. But one thing for sure, the teachings of Jesus live on in the hearts of those who follow him, in the hearts of those who want to live like he lived and learn that revolutionary love that he taught. This is the foundation of the Christian faith. This is the celebration of Easter. That love, that revolutionary, that powerful, that all-encompassing cannot, will not be contained. Not by any physical barrier, nor by death. For absolute certain, then, Jesus is alive today in the teachings that remain. and those who love and follow him. Love so powerful it could not be kept deep in stone. Love that speaks truth to power. Love that transforms hearts and lives. Love that treasures every person. Jesus' biggest lesson says, love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. We don't do enough of that. Even in Unitarian Universalism, where our very first principle that we adhere to is that we will respect and uphold the honor, the worth and dignity of each person and love them for who they are, not who they're not. I wonder if the reason we don't do this so well begins with actually not loving ourselves enough. Jesus' commandment was to love your neighbor as yourself. Well, if that's the commandment, I will tell you, I have loved some of my neighbors mighty poorly. Because I wasn't loving myself as commanded. Most of us don't really do that well. Really. Somewhere, sometime, we got into the habit of not loving ourselves well enough. Not being who we truly are, not living our best lives and our best selves. But what if we could change that? What if we could change that today? What if we could begin anew today to learn a new kind of love that is for us as well? This is Jesus' great message, that love is the foundation of all things. And the only way we can transform and be transformed. We got some youngins to come get some baskets up here for us, because we're going to do a practice in learning to begin anew. As the basket's coming around and you're preparing, wondering what it is we're about to do, imagine for a minute that when you were born, someone leaned in and whispered in your ear a prayer, a wish, a bit of wisdom that would have changed your life totally. What if it's not too late? What would that phrase be? 3 words. A 3-word simple manifestation of the treasure in you, the life in you, the love in you, that your life might have taken a different course, or might take a different course beginning today. What 3 words? Could be, you are loved. Could be, never give up. Could be, yes, you can. What 3 words whispered in your ear would what be what you need to hear right now? Think for a minute. Write those down. If you have youngins with them, make one for them too. What 3 words would you whisper in your youngin's ear to set their life on a fantastic course? And this is the great teaching of Easter, that death could not stop Jesus' ministry and message. The revolutionary love he lived and asked us to live came out from deep in the stone and lives on today. For those who claim him as Savior and those who know him as teacher. Our youngins are going to pass the baskets back now. Please put your card with your 3-word message in the basket as it comes by. We're going to bless them a little bit later. One of the beauties of Unitarian Universalism is that the Easter story can be understood by those who share its belief and those who don't. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm each person's search for truth and meaning and faith. So it is we celebrate the lessons of Easter today And now turn to the wisdom of Mother Earth, as she too brings to us beauty from deep in stone. We celebrate this time of rebirth and renewal. Please participate in body or in spirit as we begin this part of our service by calling sacred for directions. Please rise in body or in spirit. We turn toward the east, sky of rising sun, the place of new days, new lives. We are grateful for the breath of life, for awakening, for inspiration. Wisdom of the east, element of air, come. We turn toward the south. No, that's the door. We turn. I'm dyslexic, y'all. It's okay. We turn toward the south. Everything is turning here. Sky of noonday sun, the place of passion and compassion. We are grateful for warmth, for love, for all that is created by our hearts. Wisdom of the south, element of fire, come. We turn toward the west. Sky of the setting sun, the place of harvest, of fruitfulness. We are grateful for useful work and fruitful life. Wisdom of the west, element of water, come. We turn to the north at long last. Sky of the sleeping sun, the place of stillness and of rest. We are grateful for the quiet, for the letting go, for peace. Wisdom of the north, element of earth, come. You may be seated. Earth too gives us treasure and hope and beauty from deep in the stone, for it is there that gems, precious and treasured, are made as living things die into the soil to one day return as fine jewels. And the best thing about this is Mother Nature does this with ordinary looking rocks. To just pick them up, you would never know. But when they are broken open, inside we find astonishing beauty and worth. This is an amethyst, one of my favorites. And there are even some on this earth big enough to hold a human being. All over the earth we find treasure deep in stone. Just like there is treasure deep in each of us too. Except that we forget that we ourselves are treasure. That you are treasure, that the people next to you are treasure. On Earth Day, we remember Earth is precious, and so are we. So this morning, we want to offer you a way to do both, to realize that you are treasure, and to treasure the earth better. First, here on this table, right here, are some dishes of gems from deep in the stone of Mother Earth. In a moment, you will be invited to come take one to help you remember the treasure of earth and the treasure that you are. You can carry it in your pocket or your purse or put it someplace that you are going to see it every day. Now, you will be tempted to fish around and find one that you want. We ask you not to do that. We ask you to take the first one you see, the first one you touch, the first one that says, "Pick me." And then later on, you'll find out why we're doing it that way. Okay, now number 2. Remember that we called the 4 directions just a minute ago. On each wall of the sanctuary and on the triangular announcement board right here in the back of the sanctuary are posters. One for each direction and the element that it calls for. East for air, south for fire, west for water, north for earth. On one wall of each side. Which element? Air, fire, water, earth. Which one calls to you? Which one do you feel most attuned to in body and in spirit? Which one is more part of your life perhaps than another? For each element, for each poster, there are suggestions of simple things we can do to care for that element in our time on this earth. And we know our earth is in trouble. We have about 10 years to turn it around. Don't think we can wait 9 and do it all at the last minute. That won't work. We've procrastinated long enough. For air, there are things like eat less meat or use less paper. For earth, there are things like participate in a litter cleanup or start one or quit using single-use containers. For fire, we use less electricity or reduce our screen time. That will be my challenge this season. For water, we turn off the faucet while we're brushing our teeth, or we use less plastic. So I'm going to call your element, the element that you feel most drawn to. And we will ask you to go to one of the poster for that element and write your name next to one of the promises that you can fulfill to be better stewards of the earth from this day forward, that the treasure she is might be preserved. All right? And then, when you've written your name on a poster, come up here and take a stone from the bowl. Don't fish. Take a stone from the bowl. It's the story of hope that will not die and love that cannot be contained. So everybody's got your stone. As you leave today in hospitality, there's a piece of paper that has on one side a guide to the stones you may have picked up today. Tells you what they are and what properties of energy they have. On the other side of this paper are what's on these posters, so that you can take that home as well. And not only remember the commitment that you made to the element that you are most loving for, but also see what other things we can do to be better stewards of this earth. Be sure you pick those up on your way out. Now, you remember the cards that you wrote earlier. We need some youngins up here again. We will bless these cards by saying, may all of these words of hope and inspiration and love and courage be etched on our hearts and carried into this world, that our lives might be transformed, that we may be the people we have hoped to be. Oh, I need y'all to carry these for me. Okay. Oh, we can start here again. No, come on up, y'all. We need you on your feet. Thank you so much. I know, waiting and waiting and waiting. All right, now, here's what we're doing. We are passing these baskets back out. Okay? Same as you did with the rocks. Don't fish. Just reach in and take one. So here's the thing. You have put words of wisdom and love and inspiration into this service and into this world. Now you will receive someone else's blessing, someone else's prayer, someone else's wish. But only someone else's in that they wrote it. Now it's yours. And the one that you wrote is now going to inspire and encourage and strengthen someone else. And if by some statistical miracle you get your own card back, that's a whole other sermon. Finally, some traditions also call another direction the direction within, the center, the heart of all that we are. For it is with the heart that all things are born. It is with the heart that transformation begins. It is with the heart that we weave ourselves together with one another. It is with the heart that we carry our seeds of hope. It's with our hearts that we learn truths. from deep in stone. It is with our hearts that we learn the kind of love that cannot, will not be contained. Revolutionary love that can transform us and our world. It is in this season of renewal and resurrection and liberation that we ask that our hearts be awakened in new joy on this day. How is it you will move through this world from this day forward? What did you think was over and now is reborn? What did you think you could not do? Now expect, yes you can. What message are you getting that someone else wrote this morning? What message is it that you need to carry forward, that you may be whom you want to be, and live the life you want to live?